Wayde van Niekerk was once hailed as the future of sprinting, the man destined to carry the torch from Usain Bolt. He didn't just match expectations, he shattered them. In a world obsessed with 100-meter glory, Wayde carved his name in history on a different battleground, the grueling 400 meters. But just as his dominance was solidifying, he disappeared. This is the story of the man who beat Bolt, rewrote records, and then vanished. In 2016, the world watched in awe as Van Niekerk did what many believed to be impossible. From lane 8, the most unforgiving position on the track, he demolished Michael Johnson's 17-year-old 400-meter world record with a staggering time of 43.03 seconds. The stadium erupted. Usain Bolt himself ran to the stands to embrace Wayde, declaring him the future of track and field. Van Niekerk had become a global phenomenon overnight, but this wasn't just a one-off performance. Between 2015 and 2017, Wayde was a sprinting machine. He had already won gold at the 2015 World Championships in Beijing with a blazing 43.48. In 2017, he not only defended his 400-meter title at the World Championships in London, but also added a silver in the 200-meter. That same year, he broke the world best in the rarely run 300-meter, clocking 30.81 seconds, another feat previously owned by Johnson. By this point, Wayde had accomplished something no other sprinter had, running sub-10 in the 100 meters, sub-20 in the 200 meters, sub-31 in the 300 meters, and sub-44 in the 400 meters. The athletic world crowned him the ultimate hybrid, a sprinter with speed, stamina, and an unrelenting drive. Fans and analysts saw him as the successor. Track and field had its new king. Then, disaster struck. In October 2017, just months after his World Championship triumphs, Wayde joined a celebrity touch rugby match in Cape Town. It was supposed to be a fun, light-hearted event. Instead, it became the turning point that derailed a historic career. During a sharp directional cut, Wayde tore his ACL and meniscus, a brutal injury that requires both surgery and extensive rehabilitation. The timing couldn't have been worse. He was at the peak of his powers, arguably in better form than ever before. But instead of preparing for a 2018 title defense or eyeing Tokyo dominance, Wayde vanished into rehab centers and recovery routines. For the next 3 years, the world barely heard from him. From 2018 through 2020, Wayde's presence on the international stage was non-existent. He missed championship after championship, Olympic prep seasons, and the momentum he had built up completely stalled. When he finally returned in 2021 and 2022, the spark seemed missing. His signature acceleration, his relentless final 100 meters, it wasn't there. He was still fast, but not 43-second fast. At the Tokyo 2020 Olympics held in 2021 due to the pandemic, Wayde failed to make the 400-meter final. Fans were heartbroken. The man once tipped to redefine sprinting couldn't reclaim his throne. His times hovered in the 40s, a full second off his world record. And in the world of elite sprinting, a second is an eternity. Still, he pushed forward. In 2023, Van Niekerk momentarily surged back to the top of world rankings in the 400 meters, a flash of the old greatness. But it didn't last. By 2024, leading into the Paris Olympics, he made a surprising decision. He opted out of the 400 meters entirely, focusing instead on the 200 meters. It was a strategic move, an attempt to preserve his body and lean into his sprint speed. But in Paris, he didn't even make the final. It was clear this wasn't the Wayde of old. In 2025, now 33 years old, Wayde took a break from competition, citing paternity leave. It was a quiet withdrawal from the sport he once ruled. Though still training, his goals are modest, trying to rebrand himself as a 200-meter runner. But the explosive power, that devastating final stretch, appears to be gone. So what really happened? How did one of the greatest talents in track and field go from invincible to invisible? The truth is both simple and tragic. His body, fine-tuned for sprinting perfection, wasn't built for the chaos of a rugby game. The injury wasn't just physical, it broke the momentum, the rhythm, and perhaps even the confidence that had fueled his dominance. Rehab isn't just a physical grind, it's a mental war. And Wayde, despite his best efforts, never fully won that battle. Usain Bolt himself expressed regret. In a 2025 interview, Bolt named Wayde as one of the sprinters he wished he could have raced at his peak. He said, "I'm very sad I didn't get to compete against Van Niekerk. We wanted to do a 200-meter, but I wasn't fit enough. It would have been great." That statement isn't just flattery. It's an acknowledgement from the greatest sprinter in history that Wayde van Niekerk was something special, and he was. No other athlete in history has matched Van Niekerk's unique speed signature. Sub 10, sub 20, sub 31, sub 44. No one else has done it. His 43.03 from lane 8 remains one of the most astonishing performances in Olympic history. Experts say that run defied both physics and strategy. Lane 8 is where athletes go to die. No visual of the competitors, no pace guidance. But Wayde didn't just survive in lane 8, he thrived. His split times from that run are staggering, opening 200 meters in 20.54 seconds, closing 200 in 22.49. He ran a 100-meter segment in the middle of that race in 9.78 seconds, a time that matches elite 100-meter sprinters. It was a performance so rare, so perfect, that many now view it as untouchable. Yet that perfection was fleeting. Wayde's story is a cautionary tale, a reminder of how quickly greatness can vanish. One wrong step, one fun game, one bad cut, and everything changes. In a world where careers are planned down to the second, the unplanned is the most dangerous. Where is he now? Living in quiet reflection, perhaps. Still training, still hopeful. His wife, Chesney, and their child are now his center. His family life, private and grounded, gives him purpose. He still holds out hope for a final comeback, maybe not to gold medal heights, but to prove that he's still got something left. The track world still watches, still remembers, because Wayde van Niekerk didn't just beat the clock, he beat the system. He rose from South Africa, from a premature birth and early doubts, to shatter the unshatterable. And for one night in Rio, he ran faster than anyone ever had. He made the world believe in miracles. Even if he never returns to the top, Wayde's legacy is set, not just as the man who beat Bolt's expectations, but as the sprinter who turned a single lane 8 lap into a global moment of awe. He may have vanished, but legends never truly disappear. And maybe, just maybe, the story isn't quite over. There's a small but growing belief among those close to him that Wayde is preparing for one last statement, not to chase medals, but to run for himself, to silence the doubts, to close the chapter his own way. After all, the greatest comeback stories don't begin with a headline, they start with quiet determination. Stay tuned because you never know when greatness might show up again, even in silence.